LSU quarterback Joey Burrow,
my man,
has already equaled or surpassed LSU's season passing touchdown total for each of the past 5 years.
It's impressive.
It is impressive. You are Kyle. I am Colby, and this is Bootleg. Kyle, the Joey Burrow stat really doesn't have anything to do with anything today, but that's your guy, so that one was for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. They finally freed him and let him be who he is. I mean, for real though, everyone is getting to see the prospect that Urban Meyer and Ohio State were really excited to get, and it just happened to be behind a couple.
Wait, Urban Meyer knew who Joey Burrow was?
Yeah, he actually did.
Oh, okay.
Did
you tell Colin?
No one told Colin Cowherd, actually. That was pretty bad to watch. It literally asked if he knew who he was. He's from 40 minutes down the road, and his dad is a fellow FBS coach. And he played there for 3 years.
Not a lot of research going on that show.
He had I think a lot of people just hear he used to be, he was third string at Ohio State. Dude had a ton of FBS Power 5 offers and played in this kind of system in high school. And the system they were running last year is not conducive to what his skill set is. And I think that's showing this year. They're setting SEC scoring records in the first 4 games. They've scored more points than any SEC team ever.
Yeah, it's really weird to watch LSU win a game 66-35.
Well, that's the thing, too, is they're giving up points, too, and everyone is like, what is going on?
Well, when you score 55, 60 a game, your defense is going to give up some points. So I don't you know what? We can bring this full circle. Now the SEC has at least one program who knows how Big 12 programs feel.
Yeah. Their defense is out there all the time. And quickly, too, because if you look, at least watch their game against Vandy. It's big plays, boom.
Yeah.
No sustained drives.
Well, that was unplanned, but that was talking Joey Burrow.
Yeah.
On today's show, we actually have planned to attempt and figure out what's going on with Michigan.
Yikes.
We'll make some picks, which I have a few things to say after last week.
I heard they went a little rough last week.
Didn't go great last week. Villanova running back Justin Covington will join us. Mm-hmm. And I promise not to freak out about Arkansas at any point during this show.
It's okay to freak out about them.
Not going to do it. Before we do any of that, I keep getting texts from friends who think that De'Aaron King is going to go to Oklahoma.
Yeah, this is one of the weirdest situations I've ever seen. I have to be honest with you.
Very weird. Actually, that's what it says here in my notes. Very weird.
Very weird. There's no way he plays at Houston next year, right?
Well, I mean, I hoped to get to that. So the whole thing is allegedly, the plan is, okay, we're 1-3. This year's not going to go like we wanted it to go. Right. I'm going to redshirt, come back next year, I guess, and win all the games. I guess.
Yeah.
But do we really believe that he's coming back to Houston?
I don't. And I don't know what's going to change. Okay, here's what could happen. Houston goes on the rest of the season. Their defense is already atrocious. And you can't convince me the offense is going to be better without De'Aaron King and their second leading wide receiver, who is also doing the same thing, allegedly. Corbin, I believe, is his last name.
You're correct.
So they are likely not going to be great the rest of the year. And so they go 3-9 or 4-8 or even 5-7. Why is he going to want to come back to that? Or 2, Clayton Tune, I think is his name. I'm not trusting myself right now, but he's the quarterback that is going to play, and apparently Holgorsen likes a lot.
Okay.
So what if he comes in and balls out?
Yeah, that would be unfortunate as well.
Yeah, then you're just opening yourself up, if you come back, to a quarterback battle where you're not even guaranteed to be the starter.
Well, the good news is that Holgorsen appears to be a very mature adult, and I'm sure that he would handle that situation really well.
He's super mature.
It's honestly kind of it's like when a player skips a bowl game because it doesn't matter, except that we've never actually seen a player skip the final 8 or however many
games,
games a year because they don't matter.
Right.
But they don't.
No.
You're 1-3. You're Houston. I mean, even if you won every game from here on out, you're still going to like, I don't know, the Meineke CarQuest Bowl. Is that still a thing? You're going to a bowl game that
I think the Belk Bowl now. That's what it used to be, though.
Belk's a good store, underrated actually. They have some Nike products there that are not bad. I don't know, man. Everybody is going to overreact to it and say this is terrible for the sport. We're opening up a Pandora's box of guys just shutting it down.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't necessarily see it that way. I think it's a very unique situation with D'Eriq King being as good as he is and playing at a program like Houston, which, by the way, has now gone poorly for both Ed Oliver and D'Eriq King, the two most high-profile players at Houston. May both have wished at one point that they had gone to a Power 5 program. It's not going well. He's going to pack it up. Maybe he comes back, maybe he doesn't. But there are not very many players around the country that are just going to be like, well, you know what, we're 1-3.
I quit.
I'm done.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this. He's smart about it, whether he actually stays at Houston or not, because if he had just put his name in the transfer portal, he can no longer be with the team. He can no longer use a facility, train there, work out with them, be around football. But because he didn't put his name in the transfer portal yet, and also, like, there's no – when I see a guy put his name in the transfer portal at week 3 or 4 or 5 of the college, why?
Yeah.
Why? Like, okay, you now have a vacation, I guess, but you can't go anywhere right now. So King doesn't do that. Still, for the time being, going to come back to Houston next year so he can use all of their facilities, be around the team, all of the advantages that a student-athlete enjoys, and he can still, maybe, potentially, not come back to Houston.
Yeah. Now, Houston, I don't see how this gets any better. They're looking at their schedule the rest of the way. They go to North Texas this weekend with Mason Fine. Good luck with that defense. Then Cincinnati, SMU, who's undefeated, UCF, and Memphis still on the schedule. So it's not an easy slate, despite being in the American, which is actually tough this year, actually good, as I think you guys talked about last week, right?
We did, yeah. That was my overreaction last week.
Okay. And then I guess for saying how this is smart for King, another point to back that up is my experience with Dana Holgorsen. Quarterbacks get better, much better, in fact, in their second year with Dana, as it's completely new system. This is D'Eriq King's third head coach, fourth offensive coordinator, and he also played wide receiver his true freshman year.
He did.
So he hasn't had a lot of time to play quarterback. So I guess there is a strong argument to say that he's going to stay, he's going to learn in this system, and he's going to put up gaudy numbers next year, because that's what Geno Smith and Clint Trickett, Skylar Howard, and Will Grier did in their second years with Dana Holgorsen. So there's definitely, I think it's a real possibility that he stays. And Houston, I read an Andy Staples article, and I didn't realize all of this, but I guess they have like 6 transfers that are sitting out this year. And like 4 of them are on the defensive side of the ball from Power 5 programs. So in theory, they should be much better defensively next year.
Okay. I hear you with all that, but I'm gonna read one quote.
Okay.
D'Eriq King. There ain't 5 quarterbacks in the country better than that cat, and that may be too many. Do you know who said that?
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley said that.
After the game, right? Yeah, that's the problem, is that all these programs are going to come calling.
I mean, look, he had a front row seat to see what Lincoln Riley can do with a graduate transfer quarterback. I initially thought it was crazy to think that King would go to Oklahoma. Like, I still don't really think that's the play, because I think Rattler is a generational talent at quarterback, or at least appears to be.
Mm-hmm.
I am a little apprehensive about throwing praise on guys that I have not yet seen in a big spot.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hunter Johnson.
You were right about him, by the way.
Was I?
Yeah, you said you didn't think he was going to be good.
Yeah, but then I said I did think he was going to be good. See, I should have never
gone
back
told
on
me
the.
that.
I know. So that's on me. Kind of want to wait and see, but nonetheless, I mean, Rattler's the number 1 quarterback in the country. He's there waiting to play.
Yeah.
And I think it's a situation where if you bring King to Norman, Rattler may transfer.
Yeah.
You don't want that. But It wouldn't be the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Okay, here are a couple other options that I saw thrown around. Goes to Florida State with Kendall Briles, or TCU where he originally committed.
Both of those are wonderful options.
Yeah, because both are struggling right now at QB.
Yeah, safe to say.
So,
all right.
I don't know. It's really bizarre. It's interesting. Last year, we all lost our minds when Kelly Bryant quit the Clemson team after 4 games, and Trevor Lawrence was going to be the guy. So it's funny. The Tulane game was kind of the breaking point for King.
Mm-hmm.
They were up, I think, 28-7 and lost when there's the ridiculous fake kneel down and the
awesome call.
Yeah. So the Tulane quarterback transferred after he lost the job to Joey Burrow last year, and Jalen McCleskey, the wide receiver who caught the pass and scored, left Oklahoma State 4 games into the year last year.
Yep.
So it's just kind of funny that those two caused, because Houston still has everything on the table if they win that game.
Oh yeah.
Because their 2 losses to Oklahoma and Washington State, those are good losses.
Yeah.
And obviously not in your conference. But the loss to Tulane, you're not going to win the conference with a loss to Tulane.
Probably not.
So,
although Tulane looks pretty.
No,
damn
they
good
look
this year.
really good, but you're not going to navigate the rest of your schedule without another loss in conference.
No,
probably.
not what you outlined, and not with that defense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Sit out, get some reinforcements, or go to Florida State.
Yeah.
Or go to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Good luck, Dana.
What's up with Michigan?
They're broken.
I think Ohio State broke them.
They might have.
I think Ohio State broke them, and then Florida was like, "Wow, that looked pretty easy."
Yeah.
And they did the same thing, and
Florida's
now it's like,
we're really going to step on them here.
man.
So when Ed Orgeron became the head coach at LSU, he talked about wanting to have this spread up-tempo offense. And they tried 2 guys, Matt Canada, I'm blanking on the other one right now, but they did not work out. They were still each offseason we heard that they were going to be this new look LSU offense.
Yep.
And it wasn't.
Nope.
And then they got Joe Brady, and we heard the same things, and we're like, we'll believe it when we see it. And now it's here. Yep, we all believe it now.
Works well.
Yeah. And now Michigan said they were going to do the same thing, and bring in Josh Gaddis from Alabama. And it just doesn't look like it's the right fit. Now, there's a couple of things with that. Is Harbaugh really letting the offense be Josh Gaddis' offense and doing what he wants it to do? Because it doesn't look like it.
I don't know. It doesn't look like a Harbaugh offense either. It just looks very disjointed. It looks like it should have looked in March, April, whenever spring ball is. I can't remember. One of those months.
Yeah.
It looks like a bunch of guys in a brand new offense that don't really know it that well and are being forced to go full speed ahead in this offense that they don't really know too well.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is when you don't know what you're doing, this is why some coaches that are very successful, I'll shout out my high school football coach, Gus Malzahn, right here, because when he implemented the hurry-up no-huddle at the high school level, and at Shiloh Christian and then at Springdale, we started killing people with it. And then he published the book, and then he goes to Arkansas and Tulsa, and he's breaking all these records, and he's the hottest coordinator in the country. Around that same time, my younger brother was being recruited by Southern Nazarene at the time in NAIA school. They brought him in under the pretense that he was going to help them install Gus Malzahn's offense. And when he did that, or when he attempted to do that, they basically called him a liar and told him that he clearly did not actually know all of Gus Malzahn's offense. When in reality, what made us so good, and actually what kind of caught up to him at the college level, I think to some extent, but what made us so good was that the offense was not complicated. It was the same thing.
Yeah.
Flipped one side of the field or the other. It was the same route tree for everything. Everything was, you just knew. So when there's a play call, you can go full speed because there's no thinking involved. He did all the thinking on the sideline, which conversation for another day, but that's also
the thinking looks great this year.
It looks really good this year. And we can get into that too. But what I would say is the mystery of Mitch Mustain and why didn't he work at the college level. This is not shots fired. This is just real talk. Malzahn scripted everything for him at the high school level. There was no thought required from the quarterback. So when he got into a college offense where thought was required, it slowed him down. And when it slowed him down and made him make decisions, it threw everything off. I think that's what you're seeing at Michigan right now is a bunch of guys who are being forced to try to absorb this really complex system, and it's just not happening. They look completely out of sync. It looked a little weird against Middle Tennessee State. Nobody cared.
Right.
It didn't look awesome against Army, but it's Army.
Yeah, everyone kind of wrote the Army one off because they had that close game with Oklahoma. Yeah. And it was just like, this is what Army does to you. They drag you into this ugly street fight. But
the bottom fell out, though, against Wisconsin.
Yeah, and they also can't stop fumbling. They fumbled on every time they've had the ball first, they fumbled. And they were in the red zone on that first drive. Like, they were going down to hopefully tie the score, or worse, be 7-3. And they fumble inside the 20-yard line. And that wasn't the only fumble they had the game. Shea Patterson still looks like not the answer. McCaffrey, you couldn't even tell because he got knocked out of the game so quick. Here's something I heard before the season, and I was just like, I don't know if any of that really matters. But apparently, so Gaddis and Mike Locksley, the new now coach at Maryland, were the co-OCs last year at Alabama. Mm-hmm. But apparently they've been like arguing about who really was the mastermind behind the offense there. Wow. Because Gaddis has taken like more of the credit in like national media, and Locksley's like, no, it was me. And if you watch the two teams play
watch
so
Maryland,
far,
watch Michigan.
Yeah, I would say that it was Locksley. So I don't know if old Harbaugh got the wool put over his eyes or what, but I don't know. It just doesn't. It makes no sense. And what's really crazy about it is you watch Michigan play and you're like, okay, the best unit that they have on the field on offense is the wide receivers, and they can't get them the ball. They can't get them the ball.
Their top 3 wideouts had 9 total targets against Wisconsin.
It's awful.
And they trailed the whole game.
Yeah.
They should have had 20 targets in that game. Can they fix it? Is it fixable?
Not this year. I don't think so this year. I'll watch that team, and I'm like, they're going to lose 3 or 4 games. I don't think they beat Penn State. They definitely don't beat Ohio State. Who knows if they beat Michigan State? Michigan State has really good defense.
It's true. And they learned to play offense the week I picked against them. So that's good. Speaking of which, cover 4. Should we go there?
Let's do it.
I'm apprehensive. Last week was a really bad week. Michael was on the show, and I'll say this, man. Michael Gunter, well prepared. He did a good job in your stead. He did a good job. You should have been proud. He was a good pinch hitter. He came with notes, actually written on paper.
He did that last year too. Yeah. And he and I gave it our best shot. And I didn't like all of our picks. I liked both of my picks. Mm-hmm. We started joking immediately because Gunter missed his first game right off the bat before the weekend even got started. I started joking with him. Okay, it's fine. We go cover 3 here. If they don't go 4 verts, we're fine. Yeah. And then it was like, okay, we're going cover 2 here. And then it was cover 1. All right, we're going man-to-man.
We officially went cover 0, no safety over the top. We had to play man under for everything because we went 0-4, and we didn't go 0-4 by a little bit. We got our ass kicked last week.
Ugh, that's rough.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that you can bring a little good juju back.
I'm hoping so, man.
And I think for me, there's only one way to get rid of the demons.
Okay.
I'm going Woo Pig, and I'm going Boomer Sooner.
So you're going back to your roots.
I'm going back to my roots.
Back to your roots.
Only the Hogs and my beloved OU Sooners can pull me out of this.
Why don't you break down the spreads we got here and who they're playing?
Arkansas is getting 23.5 against A&M.
It's at home too, right?
It's at Jerry World.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, they always play there.
Sort of at home. It's at Jerry's home.
Yeah,
and
Jerry's
a
home.
Hog.
Yeah.
So, 23.5 may not seem like a lot if you watched the San Jose State game last week. But that game is always close. It's always weird. And I don't think that Starkel's going to throw 5 more picks.
I don't think he is either because the Justin Bieber shirt's gone.
It's true.
That I just learned about last week.
Yeah, that is a major factor in all of this. Is now he's serious. It's one thing to play quarterback with a Bieber cutoff shirt on. You're playing. But when you take the Bieber shirt off, now it's serious time.
Are you concerned about some kind of like Bieber curse? Because Bieber said he was mad at him.
I know. I kind of am.
Yeah.
A little bit I am. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
I'm going to hope that Bieber can find it in his heart to not put a curse on Nick Starkel.
That'd just be mean.
It would.
Yeah.
Kick a man when he's down.
Yeah.
We don't need that. I think Justin is a good guy. I think he's got a good heart. And, we can rekindle that relationship later on. But this week, let's just focus on football, not pop music. Arkansas is getting 23.5. I'm going with the Hogs. They're only going to lose by 23.
Okay, perfect.
And I can go to Oklahoma.
Yeah, go ahead. You're on a roll.
Sure.
You're on a roll.
Oklahoma, they're laying 27 against Texas Tech. But I don't care. There is no spread too large for Jalen Hurts and Lincoln Riley and that machine in Norman, Oklahoma right now. Coming off a bye, 2 weeks to prepare. That is bad news bears for Texas Tech, who couldn't even handle Arizona. How are they going to handle Oklahoma?
No, you're right. I think Texas Tech is the second worst team in the Big 12 after that performance against Arizona. I need to mention this because after each game, West Virginia makes these like highlight videos, just like game day highlight videos, and they started the one this week with Les Miles being asked a question.
Oh, I saw it
in the post-game press conference about how West Virginia controlled the clock in the first half, and he's like, to be honest, I didn't think they'd be that good.
I saw
He's like,
it.
what do you less?
For two things. I couldn't believe he said it.
Yeah.
And I also couldn't believe West Virginia put it in their highlight video.
Yeah.
That was world class.
It was like, Les, you were the coach of Kansas now, not LSU. Does he need to be reminded that?
Well, apparently.
And also, having watched Kansas since West Virginia's been in the Big 12, and you could probably relate to this as an Oklahoma fan, are they like the cockiest, worst team ever?
Oh, yeah.
They are always just chirping. After every play, they chirp nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the stuff with Baker, that's
all you need to watch.
They were like 1-9 at that point in the season.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're the worst, dude.
It's unreal.
Like, their superiority complex from basketball, which good luck with that moving forward.
Yeah, you're about to be in serious trouble.
But that carries over to their football team for absolutely no reason at
Right.
all. And that's why I enjoy watching them get their brains beat in to the extent that they do, because it's just they're so unlikable.
Yeah, it just like really hit home with me. I'm like, man, they're like this every year, and the
thing I enjoy most about West Virginia being not a newcomer now, but like coming along in the Big 12 is that year by year, you learn why I have the feeling about a particular program that I have.
Yep.
And then I see the light bulb moment, and I'm like, welcome to the Big 12 even more.
Yeah, no, last year it was Texas. It was the light bulb moment.
Yep.
And this year, Kansas. It's just like,
guys,
no, stop. Know you're a basketball school, and just accept it.
Well, they might be like a volleyball school now.
That's true. Good.
You got picks?
Yeah, I got picks.
I need your picks. Preferably ones that are going to be right.
Well, okay.
Or we're going to have to get rid of this whole segment.
No, these are going to be right. And this can kind of go with your Arkansas theme here.
God.
No, listen. Just hear me out. San Jose State, the team that shall not be named, taking on Air Force. Okay? Friday night, tomorrow night. They literally held like a parade on Monday. San Jose State did.
Like a real parade.
Like a real parade. They brought in food trucks. They had like a pep rally, like because they beat Arkansas.
Wow.
They are not ready for this game. So it's 19-point spread. Air Force is good. They beat Colorado, and they gave Boise State all they wanted last Friday night. They were winning late in the third quarter, and then they just kind of fell apart there late.
I saw it.
At Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
Air Force is good, and they're like Army. It's like that team that just drags you into their type of game, and they don't let you out. And this San Jose State team, they're not focused. So, see? We're putting out the juju. Yeah.
And also, Air Force is better than Arkansas by probably a wide gap.
Maybe. It's 19 points. I don't care. Air Force going to run all over them.
All right.
Support the troops.
I love it.
And then Virginia getting 12.5 against Notre Dame.
I realistically would have taken that one if I hadn't been contractually obligated to take the Hogs and to get out of my slump.
I was pleasantly surprised by Notre Dame. Well, not pleasantly, because I'm not going to act like I enjoy Notre Dame, but just surprised by Notre Dame and their performance at Georgia. They did.
Showed up.
They did. And they may or may not have ruined a teaser of mine. So thanks for that. But um, it was winning until that garbage touchdown with like 3 minutes to go.
Not bitter.
Not bitter whatsoever. But seriously, when you play like a game that emotionally packed, like that atmosphere was insane. And then just the physical nature of it, and then you come home and you're going to take on a Bronco Mendenhall team that's undefeated and really physical as well with Bryce Perkins, and you've had trouble stopping the run all year. I think this is a major letdown game, one where they should be on upset alert, although Virginia's undefeated. Give me the Cavaliers getting 12.5.
Boom.
That's a big spread for
It is.
a top 20 ranked matchup.
I love both of your picks. I feel like at minimum we're going to be able to go cover 2 this week.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I don't really have a very good dog. Oh, how about this? UMass at home, the battle of the worst teams in the country. They're getting 7.5.
Live on Flow.
Live on FloFootball, Saturday afternoon. UMass gets their first win in the Walt Bell era.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it so much. All right, well, that's the end of cover 4, which means it is officially time for Colonial Time. Forgive me if you've heard this before, but we have yet another huge week in the CAA in Week 5.
You ain't lying, though.
2 top 25 matchups this week. God, man. I mean, where do we even begin? I guess we could begin with the top 25 matchups.
Yep.
So we've got Villanova hosting Maine, and James Madison, Kurt Signetti making that trip to Elon.
That one is juicy.
It is. It really is. Much as I'm excited about that, Villanova Maine is.
Oh, absolutely.
That's like must-see TV,
Yeah.
man. I mean, Maine, obviously the defending conference champion, and Villanova, who nobody was really paying attention to early on, and then now all of a sudden they're front and center,
Yep.
number 8 team in the country,
Yep.
just knocked off Towson in a game that it looked like at multiple points in that game, I thought, okay, that's going to be a tough one for Villanova to swallow. Like that may sink them.
Yeah.
In particular, when they go up 14 late, and then Towson battles back, ties the game. They're at home. They got the momentum.
Yeah.
But Nova was strong.
You know, Towson kicked that field goal to take the lead. Villanova didn't even flinch. Drove straight down the field and nailed a 47-yard field goal to send it to overtime, and then got it done in overtime. It was really impressive game for both teams, how they answered. They just back and forth. Then, Villanova took a couple possession lead there. Towson answered, and then Villanova was finally able to get a stop there in overtime. But, yeah, what a fun game.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because that game's running concurrent with Georgia Notre Dame and Oklahoma State Texas.
Yeah.
And you can make an argument that was the best game of the night.
It was much more exciting than both of those games. Yes. No, it was.
And then obviously in Elon, we have the storyline that everybody wants to write, nobody can, which is Kurt Signetti taking James Madison back to his old stomping grounds in Elon, North Carolina, against a team that he brought to Harrisonburg, Virginia. Got it first try that time.
There you go, boom.
And knocked off JMU last year.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, what stands out to you about that particular matchup? Is it the Signetti versus Trisciani matchup at battle of the head coaching minds? Is it Elon quarterback Davis Cheek up against that defense? What stands out?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the coaches for me. Like you said, last year, what Kurt Signetti did at Elon is absolutely incredible when you look at their past history. They only been to the FCS playoffs once before he got there. He takes them 2 years in a row in his first 2 years there. And not only do they go to the playoffs, but they beat the best team in the league, the team that had dominated the league. They'd won 19 straight CAA games. And then they go into the most intimidating place to play at in the league and win. And then the defensive coordinator from that team now steps up. He's the head man at Elon, and he now has to take on the guy who led them to that big upset. I don't know. It's weird, and it's probably going to be weird for both staffs on Saturday, but it makes for a great storyline.
It would make for a great storyline if anybody could actually write about the storyline. That has proven difficult. Nonetheless, you know the deal.
Yeah.
Signetti, JMU, going to Elon, top 25 matchup. Going to be awesome.
Besides the West Virginia game, I think this is the first time we'll see James Madison really tested. I don't really count the West Virginia game just because it's a completely different level of competition.
Sure.
Even then, they almost still won.
Yeah, they were game.
So, and Rashad Robinson didn't play against Chattanooga last week. He practiced all week and is going to play this week. So that will make Davis Cheek's life a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. So will Rondell Carter.
Yeah, and John Daka. And that,
John Daka, yeah.
No, good luck with that defense.
Some non-conference games of note as well. And just for the record, CAA football teams are 21-4 against non-conference FCS opponents this year.
It's really good.
It is good. It's actually the best of any conference in all of the FCS, which is odd because we called that 3 months ago.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so there's that. But
love it when we have stats to back us up, though.
yeah, math helps,
Yeah.
but it still doesn't prevent people from coming after you
Oh,
in
no,
the comment
absolutely.
section.
People don't want to hear math.
But we have a couple of non-conference FBS matchups, and there's another streak to keep alive there. I believe it's 4 years in a row. Yes, 4 years in a row that the CAA would have a win over an FBS opponent if Delaware can knock off Pitt
Okay.
or Towson can knock off Florida. Thoughts?
Thoughts, if I had to bet on one, or which one I think is more likely, it would definitely be Delaware Pitt. Pitt coming off that crazy game with UCF where Narduzzi learned how to go for it on fourth down. Would it not just be the most Pitt thing ever to beat UCF and then lose the next week?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, and Delaware's a top 20 FCS team, and I really liked what I saw from
Nolan Henderson.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah.
He was great. I love his dual threat ability. That dude
Yeah.
can move. So I think that's your best bet. If Towson wasn't so banged up,
That's the thing.
I might like their chances better because Tom Flacco's going to ball, and those receivers are going to ball. But at the same time, like not having Shane Simpson really, really hurts.
It does, and I hate it.
I know.
Because, I mean, you already know he's one of my favorite players in all of college football. I think he
Yeah.
was the best player at the FCS level prior to the injury. And I also thought Towson was a team that had a very real shot at a national title. And when I saw the schedule coming into this year, I looked at that Florida game, and I really thought that was an opportunity for Towson to shock the world. And it would have set up perfectly with the injuries at quarterback at Florida. What they did against Tennessee, I don't want to hear about. It's Tennessee.
That game was ugly. No, that game was ugly.
I just think Florida was ripe for the picking.
Yeah.
But I don't know that Towson has enough firepower left with, like you said, being banged up like they are. But, look, I'll go on record as saying that I'm cheering hard for Towson
We are going to ride
on the road against an SEC opponent.
Let's not act like Florida's unbeatable in the swamp here in the past 10 years because they've definitely lost to worse teams there. Georgia Southern comes to mind. Georgia Southern a few years ago.
Yeah, sure. And more importantly, Towson has the better quarterback.
Absolutely.
So you start there. What else we got? Oh, one thing I wanted to mention.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of CAA superiority, the FCS leading rusher and receiver both reside in the CAA. And I don't feel like we talk about Rhode Island enough just because they've had some tough nights thus far this year, but Aaron Parker leads the FCS in receiving yards per game at 171.7, second in receptions per game with 10. He's topped the 100-yard mark in all 3 games, including a 12-catch, 227-yard effort against the Blue Hens, and he's coming up on the all-time receiving record at Rhode Island.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
And Justin Covington, you see how I'm setting this up now.
I do.
Justin Covington ran for a career-best 194 and a touchdown last week. He leads the FCS in rushing with 556 yards, fourth in yards per game at 139.0, and he so happens to be today's guest right now. Justin, thanks so much for hanging out with us today, man.
No problem.
Look, man, so I'm going to get right to it. Preseason number 9 in the CAA. Nobody's talking about you guys. No one off your team was a preseason all-conference. There's nothing. And then you come out and smack Colgate in week 1. You're 4-0 as we're sitting here right now, number 8 team in the country. I have to ask you, how much did at least the perception of disrespect fuel you guys early on?
It's funny because we have a saying that we go by like 0 and 9, and is reference to the zero all league players that the CAA said we didn't have in the ninth ranking that we were picked, and we kind of just used it as a chip on our shoulder to see, that's where we were ranked, before the season, and that's how people felt about us. But in all honesty, it doesn't really matter, to us because we're aware of like what we have and what we're trying to do each week, but we do play with that chip on our shoulder, because we are 4-0, and now we're getting a little more publicity, and people are looking more into the offense and the defense of the team, and things like that. But we just pride ourselves on just remembering that we were 0-9, we were 0-9, zero all conference players, and we're picked ninth in the league, and we're just trying to play ball.
I like that. And you may have surprised everybody else, but how much of this did you see coming?
I guess I wouldn't say I saw it coming, but the team has worked hard, and we've all worked hard, bought into this year, and trying to do the best we can, and just playing for each other. And I think when a team can buy into playing for each other, all the statistical stuff will come, the wins will come, and all the all conference, all league, all that stuff will come, but the team comes first. So I think everyone has bought into trying to do everything we can to better the team. And when you do that, then you get several guys scoring touchdowns, guys running for a lot of yards, Dan throwing touchdowns, defense getting interception, and it kind of just flows.
When you guys play Maine this weekend, it'll be the third ranked team you've played so far this year, and you're likely, as tough as the CAA is, going to have a few more on down the line. How do you kind of take it week to week and just focus on the opponent that week and not look ahead?
I think the players, and I think the coaches do a great job of, we're just trying to make sure we focus on one thing at a time, one day at a time. So after a game, so after Townsend, we watched the film on Sunday, and we enjoyed the win. But then by Monday, it's flushed down the toilet, and now we're focused on Maine, and then we're focused on having a good Tuesday practice, having a good Wednesday practice, having a good Thursday practice, Friday walkthrough, and then playing on Saturday. You can't really overlook any opponent. In the CAA, like every week is a battle. Any team can lose on every given week. And I think even more so than last week, I think, Maine, they have a bigger chip on their shoulder. I think we have a bigger chip on our shoulder because they're the defending CAA champs. So if you want to be this, if you don't want to be the champions, you got to knock off the champions. So I think that's even more of a chip for us. But definitely, just taking things, one step at a time. We're not worried about week 10, week 9. We're just focused on Maine.
So, Justin, a year ago, you're in a reserve role. You got double-digit carries in a game last year exactly one time. You rushed for 263 yards on the year. And, dude, you went for 194 last week alone. Career high, by the way. Congratulations. And you lead the championship subdivision with 556 yards through 4 games. Obviously, opportunity aside, I may be talking to the best running back at the FCS level, and I wonder what has been the biggest difference for you from sophomore to junior year.
I think definitely. I think the game has overall slowed down. I think my redshirt freshman year, sophomore year, the game moved a little faster. And I think now with Coach Bowden and the offense, and us kind of learning the offense together, the game is so much slower now, and I think I'm much more comfortable in my reads, and the game has slowed down in terms of just running the ball, and I think it helps. Offensive line is playing really well, but I think the biggest growth in me is kind of maybe mentally, understanding, looking at the defensive line fronts, like looking at where the backers are lined up, and maybe like just slowing my reads down and kind of just going from there. And I think I'm out on the field. Running the ball, it looks much different, from the sideline on the field, but it's kind of just moves really slow, and I'm able to, read and just use my vision and, run.
No question. Hey, I want to double down on the history lesson, though. Bronx Player of the Year, first team All-State, All-City, All-League. You had 2 FBS offers, Army and Navy. Then you go to Villanova, You redshirt, you're a backup, and finally, you're the guy. You're the guy in the backfield. And all you've done is put yourself in the Walter Payton Award race and put your team right near the top of the polls. You realize that you basically are the epitome of what Villanova football is this year, which is a guy that no one talked about, a team that no one talked about, and you're playing with a chip on your shoulder and proving everybody wrong.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that part. You know, I told my mom. I think we like being an underdog. We kind of like when people, you know, don't watch us and pick against us. You know, now we're trying to get a little more. So sometimes you just feel like too many people are talking about us. But we kind of like, you know, week 0, everyone's like, you know, Nova's playing 13th ranked Colgate, they're gonna lose. You know, or then Townsend, it was like Nova played, you know, their combined record of 3 teams they played are 0-9. You know, they're not going to beat Townsend. So it's kind of funny because now it's like people are like, okay, like Nova football is really good. They have a good offense, a good defense. But, you know, it's kind of, you know, we just try to like not pay attention. Sometimes I'd rather just prefer people not to talk about us at all. You know, like we're just, you know, we're just a team, you know, we're just a team, you know, trying to play. And, you know, I think, you know, definitely the publicity is great, but I think, you know, definitely, you know, we're just trying to be the best we can be, and that's all we can really focus on.
So last year you guys get off to a fast start as well, 3-1 with an FBS win over Temple, and then not the kind of end of the season that you guys wanted. Did you guys learn anything from that that you can carry over into this year for the middle and end of the season?
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny you say that because I think last year translated over really well from this year because, you know, like it's funny because the CAA, you know, we weren't returning too many starters, you know, but a lot of people played because of injuries. So a lot of guys who are playing now, who are starting now, have really played a lot, and we've kind of went through that struggle together. And I think last year taught us, you know, like after we beat Temple, and we're kind of on this high horse, and we kind of just felt like we were going to tear through the league. And I think at times we overlooked, you know, maybe a day-to-day game and just the grind, you know, of the CAA. So I think, you know, now we understand the adversity that we're going to go through just on a day-to-day basis and in a game basis. And I think it kind of really showed, you know, against Townsend, like we scored, they scored, we scored, they scored, we turned the ball over, they scored, they turned the ball over, we scored. But on the sideline, it was never a sense of doubt or, you know, like we're going to lose or we're mad at the defense or the defense is mad at us. And I think last year it definitely helped us just to understand that, you know, at the end of the day, we're just trying to win. Whether we score 50 points or we score 3 points, we're just trying to win. And whatever we have to do to win, we're going to try to do. But at the same time, there also is going to be ups and downs throughout that. And I think last year, you know, going through, you know, being on that high horse and kind of having tough games really kind of helped us translate into this year.
So you got Maine this week. We'll have it live. What do you know about the Black Bears? How's preparation going for that game so far?
It's going good. You know, Maine, you know, they have I think they have a great defense. I think they have I know they have one number. They have really number 9, number 5. I think one of them was a preseason predicted All-American. Another was an all-conference guy, and they have, you know, I think an all-conference corner. You know, they have a lot of guys there. They're big. You know, they're physical. You know, they're a good CAA team. You know, like you said, you know, they're the defending CAA champs. You know, that's nothing to really downplay. But, you know, at the same time, I think we're always focused on us. You know, they're a great team, and we're preparing for, you know, what they do, you know, how they line up and things like that. And then we're focused on, you know, what we have to run, focused on that and executing to the best we can, and, you know, go from there.
All right, man. So from 0-9 to the number 8 team in the country going into this week, 5 weeks in, what's the goal for this team now? What is successful look like for Villanova in 2019 now?
Right now, the goal is just to beat Maine. That's what I think. That right now, that's the goal. You know, it's funny. I think we all understand what the end goal is, but it doesn't need to be talked about in I guess broadcast. You know, I think everyone who plays football, everyone wants a national championship and a conference ring. That's always the end goal. It's nothing less. You know, that's what we want. But in order to do that, We just have to focus on the task at hand and, what we have to do, So I think right now in 2019, the task is to go 1-0 this week.
That's why he's a captain. That's why he's got that C on his jersey. An answer like that's pro stuff right there. Justin Covington leads the nation in rushing, and he leads the number 8 team in the country against Maine this weekend. My man, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, appreciate it. Special thanks to Justin Covington for coming on the show today. Also, a big shout-out to all of our people at Villanova, my man Dean for setting up the interview. Really enjoyed our time with Justin. He's, for one thing, an impressive young man, but also a really impressive running back, man. Off to a phenomenal start this year when few, if anybody, was really expecting it. And again, Nova, Maine, live on FloFootball this weekend. And that's not all. We have JMU at Elon, like we've been talking about.
Yes,
that
sir.
one's going to be big with Maine, Villanova. Stony Brook, Rhode Island. Stony Brook has looked really impressive early this year on both sides of the ball. Meanwhile, URI is taking some tough L's, but that should be a pretty good game. And then we've got Duquesne, New Hampshire, the non-conference battle right there. Duquesne, obviously, a team that had a little something for Towson last year in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and,
playoff team a year ago.
UNH very aware of that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that one shakes out. And William and Mary goes on the road to Albany. Is it at Albany?
Yeah, at Albany.
Okay.
I'm really interested in that one because the teams are just – both are markedly improved from a year ago.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And it's a really big conference game. Neither team has played a conference game yet this year. And William and Mary's 2 losses are to FBS teams, Virginia and East Carolina.
Yep.
So that one's huge for both those teams. Both are sitting at 2-2, so would get you to 3-2 and 1-0 in the CAA. So huge game there.
Yeah, I mean, for both programs, a winning month of September.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely considered it, an overall win. And yeah, it's the what was it characterized as, the go-go
versus throw. Yeah, you have
go.
the go-go kind of run-heavy offense, William and Mary, and then the Villanova. I'm looking at the sheet, but Albany throw it all over the field.
Yeah.
Offense. So it should be a really fun offensive battle.
Should be. We're looking forward to it. Another great weekend of CAA action on FloFootball.com and the Flow Sports app. And I think that Colonial Time is up. All right, dude. Pretty good job by us so far.
Killed it.
Now all we got to do is close this thing out because you're only as good as how you finish. And
How do you want to close it out?
Well, so for one thing, I got to plug all of our awesome games this week.
Yeah.
We already talked about the CAA games, but we also have some SEAC action, underrated Division II conference. Benedict and Fort Valley State play this week at 2 o'clock. Savannah State and Morehouse at 1 o'clock. What else do we have? We have Akron and UMass.
FBS games,
Akron and UMass, number 129 against number 130. That's going to be a freaking barn burner.
Someone will win.
Someone will win.
Someone will win.
So tune in for that. Fresno State, New Mexico State's a game I've had circled since we got the New Mexico State.
Yeah, my
home
man,
games.
Josh Hokett, running back for Fresno State. Also an NCAA All-American wrestler, was 5th in the country last year after coming off a full football season. He scored 3 touchdowns last week.
Not
so that's
bad.
pretty awesome.
Not bad.
So yeah, that's really cool to see him on full football.
And if you do not live in the United States,
Yeah.
preferably if you live in Mexico and or Canada, you could watch Rutgers, Michigan, Indiana, Michigan State, Washington State, Utah, Southern Cal against Washington, Texas Tech against Oklahoma. Oklahoma's going to cover that 27-point spread. And your favorite KU Jayhawks against TCU.
Puke.
If you live in the United
Penn
States,
State,
though.
Penn State, Maryland too, Friday night.
Oh, shoot.
It's probably up at the top.
It is at the top.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. Is that
I got you.
I'm having a hard time coming back from that one. Penn State, Maryland, before anything else happens.
It should be crazy atmosphere in College Park. I know they're going all black unis, encouraging everyone to wear all black. And if I
How do you counteract a whiteout team?
Yeah,
Black 'em
yeah, that's true. They're bringing in like extra bleachers for this game, so
All right.
Terps are showing out.
Dirty Terps.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is the part where I usually mess everything up. So did
Do
I
you-
forget anything?
No, not that I can recall. Do you want to talk about Arkansas, or you want to let it go?
Oh, you want me to do that? Okay.
Well, no, I'm just like, I feel like it needs to be just like at least addressed.
All right.
You don't have to get into the full length message if you don't want to, but maybe just a little bit.
Okay. I'm hearing a lot of Fire Chad Morris talk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been a champion of Chad's cause.
Very pro Chad Morris.
Very pro Chad. He's done a phenomenal job recruiting.
Mm-hmm. No denying.
He has not just gone after, but signed players that Brett Bielema never would have even given a second look because Bielema never thought he could get them to Fayetteville. And if you take a look at the upperclassmen at SMU, for example, a guy like James Prochet, pretty good talent left in the cupboard for Sonny Dykes and Rhett Lashley, who, by the way, are doing a phenomenal job at SMU. I don't want to take anything away from them because they're the ones coaching them up. All I'm saying is, stark contrast, the talent level that Chad Morris left SMU with versus the talent level relative to competition that Brett Bielema left for Chad Morris. Chad's got no upperclassmen of note other than Rakeem Boyd, who the JUCO transfer.
Yeah.
Not so. Has never had a quarterback. Now, that last thing, I think, is when you can start to get into, okay, what's up with Chad? Nick Starkel is a guy that I believed in, much like Chad Morris. Ben Hicks is a guy I never believed in, ever, from the time he was at SMU.
Can confirm.
Yeah. Bringing Ben Hicks into Arkansas was fine, I guess. It wasn't a move where I was like, oh, God, they're great now. They have this awesome – no, that wasn't ever it. The fact that Hicks started the season out, I don't love. I think you probably gave away the Ole Miss game when you didn't have to. I think Starkel could have done some things in that game because it wasn't as – Arkansas was in that game for the majority of that game. They just couldn't get over the hump, and you can't get over the hump because you got 6 playing quarterback for –
Do you think it was just like Morris's like security blanket?
It was. Well, yeah. So I mean, the argument that I'm well aware of is you got a bunch of freshman wide receivers that don't really know the offense, and you're young up front. So you want a quarterback in there that knows the offense front and back and can get guys in the right spot. And even if he can't make plays, he can just prevent people from messing up play calls. Fine. But you always had to go to Starkel. So they go to Starkel. It went really well against Colorado State until it didn't go well at all against San Jose State. Chad Morris didn't throw 5 interceptions.
No.
Craddock didn't throw 5 interceptions. Starkel threw 5 balls, 4 of them directly into a safety's lap. I don't know what you're supposed to do with that. Don't throw the ball to the guy in the other colored shirt.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, on practically every one of those throws, his guy was open. The ball was just 4 yards in the other direction. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to do with that. And I don't know what to tell you about the Arkansas program. This isn't the thing I did last year where they lose to North Texas and I bang on the desk and I tell you, relax, it's going to be fine. Everything is going fine. Everything is not obviously going fine. That was as bad a loss as I've ever seen Arkansas football absorb in my lifetime. And I lived through the Danny Ford years. I don't know. I mean, you got A&M this week at Jerry World. You need to bounce back. It's kind of a grudge match for Morris, who, let's face it, he's an A&M grad. Daughter went to A&M. He wanted to be the coach at A&M. They went with Jimbo. You got Nick Starkel, A&M quarterback. Very clearly wanted to be the A&M quarterback.
Yeah.
They go with Kellen Mond. So there's that. You hope that lights a fuse, lights a match, whatever the expression is. You hope that maybe Starkel not wearing a Justin Bieber shirt helps. I'm joking, but I'm not even joking at this point.
No.
I don't know, man. I'm at a loss. I don't know if that makes for great radio or great podcast or whatever, but I have no idea.
I just wanted to get your thoughts.
That's my thoughts.
You saw a lot of, like you were saying, hot takes next day after, just like wanting to start over yet again, and I think that could just set everything back another 4 or 5 years.
Well, yeah, so I guess that's the other piece of this too. Like, you want to fire Morris after year 2,
right?
You're going to handicap your program way worse than it already is.
No,
you have to give him a full recruiting cycle just to see. You know, let's see if the guys that are freshmen this year can be. And that's the other deal is like the guys that are sophomores this year. Bumper Pool, fantastic player, but in his class, there's not much. Because Bielema wasn't recruiting anybody of note, and then he left, or forcibly left. Morris came in. It was a fire drill. Let's just see who we can get in here. So you basically have got Mike Woods and Bumper Pool to show for it. So this freshman class is really his first shot at bringing in his guys. You got to let them develop. I wonder where the hell KJ Jefferson is. I mean, maybe we'll see him later in the year. He might as well be in witness protection as far as I know right now. I haven't seen him at all. John Stephen Jones, whatever. But you got to figure out the quarterback spot. And if you keep fumbling around with it, you're going to end up with KJ in the transfer portal. And maybe that doesn't even matter because if he's not in the rotation right now, I don't even know if he's any good
enough. Yeah.
So I just have a lot of questions at this point. I don't really have a lot of answers with Arkansas football. But if they were to get rid of Morris right now, you're looking at 2028 before they're back. And by back, I just mean winning 8 games. So
it's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna choose to believe in Chad. I'm gonna choose to believe that he's gonna get it all figured out. I'm gonna choose to believe that Starkel's not gonna throw 5 balls to the other team this week. Yeah, let's lean on Raheem Boyd.
He promised he'd be better on Twitter.
Well, okay, that means a lot.
Yeah.
Anytime that you go to Twitter and make that kind of a promise, you literally couldn't be worse.
That's true. Were you surprised they stuck with him?
Yeah. I really thought they'd go to somebody.
Yeah.
I don't know. They kept putting the camera on Hicks, who's just standing there with his hands behind his back, no helmet anywhere in sight. I don't even know if he knew where his helmet was. I was surprised they stuck with Starkel, but I didn't necessarily think they'd go to Hicks. I thought they might give John Stephen Jones some burn. As a kid I watched play in high school, I know he can play. I don't know if he can play at this level, and I don't know if his diminutive stature is a problem, but hey, if it's not going well for Starkel early on this week, what better time to trot out Jerry Jones' grandson than at Jerry Jones' house?
That's right.
So let's
go. What I'm saying.
Let's go.
If they should announce he's the starter, I'll bet on him. I'll bet on Arkansas.
So will I. But I already am.
You already are, no matter what.
All right, that's it. You're gonna make me cry.
I'm sorry. I really didn't mean to depress you.
How about Oklahoma though, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
Boomer.
Sooners, baby.
All right. Aside from Arkansas, is there anything else that I forgot to talk about?
I think that's it, man. We did good today.
Got the Pack playing tonight.
Yeah, against the Eagles. Hopefully they continue to struggle.
Can the Pack score a touchdown?
Yeah, man. We've been getting better every game offensively.
Okay. I like that.
I'm really – no, for real, though, I'm not that concerned about it because you open up the season against the Bears, Vikings, and Broncos, who are all going to finish as top 10 defenses, and the Bears probably is the best. And each game, I think they've gotten better and shown improvement, and the defense is really good. So
very good.
Last time we had top 10 defense, we won the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen because I'm not sure that this is the year.
I would have liked it better if you had. If you'd gone down that road. I'll tell you right now, Cowboys are going to be in the NFC Championship game, so it's really just a matter of who we're playing.
I know. We'll play you guys in a few weeks. Worry about the Saints. You guys got to go to this Superdome Sunday night.
Yeah, but it's just Teddy Bridgewater. We're fine.
It is just Teddy Bridgewater, but you also just smacked up the Seahawks and Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas.
Not worried. America's team. Back here. See my shirt?
I do.
Yeah, see if it's yeah, there you go. America's team. Squad goals. Hey, Kyle. Tell the people what the key to running the bootleg is.
Doing it naked.
We're gone.